This is one that we've actually covered before on this channel. We've covered this statue a few times before. It's a statue that is outside BBC headquarters, and let's just get into the story. BBC unveils restored controversial statue by Eric Gill, and you'll notice it now has a protective screen around it. Why could that be? Well, let's get into the article. A controversial statue carved by the sculptor Eric Gill has been restored and has been unveiled outside the BBC's London headquarters. Now, this is because a Good Samaritan, as we'll call him, climbed a ladder and took a chisel to the statue to try and destroy it. Why would he do something like that? Well, let's get into the article. The Grade 2 listed statue was damaged in 2022 and 2023 when it was attacked by a member of the public with a hammer. Gill was among the most prominent sculptors of the 20th century, but after his death in 1940, his diaries revealed he had sexually abused his daughters, so the guy was a nonce. That's why. And the BBC are dead set on keeping this statue. But anyway, a BBC spokeswoman said on Wednesday the corporation in no way condones Gill's abusive behaviour, but that it draws a line between the actions of Gill and the status of these artworks. Separate the art from the artist, as it were. There have been calls in recent years for Gill's 1930s work, which depicts Prospero and Ariel from William Shakespeare's play The Tempest, to be removed from the BBC's broadcasting house. Now, I'll see if I can get up close pictures of the statue and see what you think. The restored sculpture will be displayed alongside a QR code which links to information about the history of the building, Eric Gill, and the sculpture's restoration. Last month, David Chick of Northamptonshire pleaded not guilty to causing more than £150,000 worth of damage in Portland Place in May 2023. Free him, drop all charges. But anyway, the BBC said that the estimated total cost of the restoration and protective work was £529,715. It's understood the cost has been covered by the BBC rather than claimed on insurance. How curious. Now, isn't that interesting? I mean, we know what the man did, and he's made a statue like that, portraying that kind of thing. And the BBC are dead set on keeping it to the point where they even paid £500,000 out of their own pocket. Not for insurance, which they could have very easily claimed it on insurance, but they decided to pay £500,000 out their own pocket to keep the statue. A BBC spokeswoman says when the building was subject to serious criminal damage on 2 occasions, there were no easy options for addressing the destruction caused. Having sought expert advice and opinion, we repaired the facade in line with the building's Grade 2 status. She noted that working with Historic England and Westminster City Council, they had also installed a protective screen in front of the sculpture to avoid future damage. Historic England CEO Duncan Wilson said, "We recognise that since details of Gill's abusive behaviours came to light in the late 1980s, so they've known this for like 40-something years, he has understandably become a controversial character." Right. I'd say controversial. It is a bit more than controversial, you know. But anyway, we welcome the BBC's approach to repairing this. We welcome the BBC's approach to repairing the sculpture and providing interpretation which explores this complex history. The history's complex. It's just complex. The history's rather complex, right? That's all. Like Jimmy Savile's history was complex, right? It's just complex. You just don't get it. This is in line with our approach of encouraging thoughtful, long lasting, and powerful reinterpretation of contested statues and sites, which keeps their physical context but adds new layers of meaning and understanding. Whereas, over in America, there was even that statue that those little idiots that Banksy supported get tossed in the river, and everybody got off absolutely scot free. But for slave ownership and etc. etc. However, a statue by a literal fucking paedophile that portrays a man grabbing like a naked child. Oh no, you'll go to jail forever for that one. Right, and also we're going to put the statue back in place and even protect it with a protective screening. Isn't it really, really strange where our state's priorities lie? I'm about to tap the sign. In 2023, David Chick of Northamptonshire was arrested after allegedly climbing scaffolding at Broadcasting House and hitting the statue with a hammer. BBC staff reported hearing a man shout "paedophile" as he struck the statue, so even a member of the public was shouting because everybody knows the story. Mr. Chick was already under investigation for a criminal damage to the same statue during a previous incident in 2022. In March 2025, the judge released him on conditional bail and ordered the defendant not to go within 100 metres of the statue. A trial date was set for May next year, also at Southwark Crown Court. The Prospero and Ariel statue has been on display at the BBC since 1933. Now, I understand that there are certain things that people want to, oh yeah, we should preserve art, history, culture, etc., etc. Not from a pedo. Just not from a pedo. Right, and it's weird how they're all around this statue and defending it to the point where they're putting up a protective screening, they're refusing to move it. It shows a man grabbing a naked child. The BBC paid $500,000 out their own pocket to not just restore the statue, but also put a protective screening around it. They're dead set on having a statue that was created by a known paedophile. They're dead set on keeping it. If it was my building and it basically came out, that statue was built by a nonce, I would go up there with a hammer and chisel myself and get rid of the fucking thing. I would not want to be associated with that in any way. I would leave it in the street for everybody to come up with their own hammers and destroy. That's what I would do. I believe that would be the right thing to do. However, I mean, we all know what happened with Savile. We've all heard the rumours of the stuff that goes on at the BBC. We all know why they're keeping it.